Hey everybody out there, it's Pastor John with your Midweek Reflection. 2017 marks the 100th anniversary of Point Place United Church of Christ. God has been moving among this community of faith for 100 years, and that's a big deal. And so as we thought about how do we want to celebrate this, how do we want to mark this milestone, leadership team decided that, what better way of doing that than by placing this century of being a church within the greater story of God's people. To say, we've been part of this story, this great story that's been going on since the time of Jesus, and even before that, this great story that's been going on, and we've been part of that story for 100 years. And so our theme this year, as we search the scriptures and figure out what is that story, we decided that that story is a story of God saying go and God's people going. So our theme for the 100th year, for our 100-year anniversary, is Go with God. Go with God. And one of the ways we want to celebrate this anniversary and to really get into this theme is with the sermon series that we started last week, When God Says Go. And last week we looked at the story of Abraham, kind of the origin story for God's people of faith. And Abraham's story began with God's call to go and experience God's blessing, to go and allow God to use Abraham and his family to bring blessing to others. And so this week, we're going to move on to the story of Moses. And of course, another foundational story in this whole story of faith and this whole line of people to whom God said go. And we're going to be looking at the story of Moses and the process by which Moses, the Exodus happened, the process by which God brought the people out of slavery in Egypt and then into the Promised Land. And one of the things we notice is that there's not just one go in this story. There's actually a whole series of goes. Go back again, go back again. It's not just all this great one act of obedience and trusting God and then everything breaks through. It's as Friedrich Nietzsche said, and Eugene Peterson has written a book called this, it's a long obedience in the same direction. And so this week, I want to encourage you to think about someone who's done something great. It could be someone you know personally. It could be someone kind of just a hero of yours, maybe. I've been thinking this week, because of the holiday on Monday of Martin Luther King, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and the Civil Rights Movement. And as you think about that person or that great thing that was accomplished, I wonder how much of that story do you know? All right, so do you just know about that great thing, or do you know how that great thing came to be? And if you don't know how that great thing came to be, I encourage you this week to look more into it. Take some time to look into this great thing or this great person that you admire and learn more about how the process by which that great thing happened or that person became the kind of person who could do something great. And if you do know, I wonder if you could kind of trace the various goes in that process. How did that person start on this journey to do this great thing or accomplish this great work? Where were the other goes and go backs and go agains throughout that process and throughout that story? So that's one thing to think about. Your hero or something great that's been done, and what was the process like to do that? The second thing I want to encourage you to do is consider how God is calling you to go right now. What is your God dream for your life, for this world? And it probably isn't something that you can just snap your fingers and do right now. But what's the first step? What's the first go in this series of goes that God wants you to follow to do this great thing for the world, to experience God's blessing and to bless the world through you? So those are a couple of questions to think about. On Sunday, we'll talk more about Moses and the many goes that God gave to Moses. As always, I look forward to worshiping with you as we live the gospel life together. And until then, may God bless you.